And good morning, everybody. It is Fabulous Friday featuring Beryl Comar, who, as many of you know, she is my mentor. She is my friend and colleague, and I love her to bits. Now, today, I brought Beryl on because it's Christmas time, okay? It's the holidays. And we know that there are a lot of Christmas challenges. So I thought, who's better than my Beryl? So Beryl, take it away. And I know you've made some notes. What do you think are the main Christmas challenges that people face?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Well, I think you've heard me say this so many times. I talk to my clients about it. Too many expectations make disappointments. And at this time, this season, we set our expectations so high of other people, situations, the food, the spread, the decorations, the images that we've created, the feelings that we have from our childhood, which we're expecting to reproduce. It's all those expectations and expectations of perfection if we're having people around or if we're going to others, the perfection of the present or the whatever. And if there's anything that we've learned in 2024 is to, not have that excess idea. People know that we're recycling, that we're making our own wreaths from rags these days. I've just learned how to make rag wreaths, for example.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Not so easy with my hand, but hey, it's the best I can do, and that's it. And from all of this, we get emotional responses that sometimes, lead to tears, lead to highs, or again, disappointments in others and what they should. This awful word should. It should have been like this. You should have done that. I should have done that. And I hate that should, mustn't, have to stuff.
Yeah.
So there's the emotional responses, physical responses. I'm tired and I shouldn't be. Just leave it to some others. People pick it up. Psychological response, like triggers from the past. Maybe somebody turns up who you didn't get on with in the past and you're feeling grumpy. And why did they? And how could they? And that sort of stuff. Well, we've forgotten what it's about. Jesus was a simple guy, He said, consider the lilies on the field. They don't have any expectations. They just open up every day and look for the sunshine and then close at night and come up the next day, And I think that's the worst thing of all is expectations and disappointments.
I love it. And I absolutely agree with you 100%, as I always do. Now, so if we do have somebody who comes to us and they're saying, well, and they had these big expectations of how it will be, and I agree with you. I've already had many clients say with this sort of thing, and it's what do you say to them when they're saying, well, how can I relay what I want it to be like? What do you how do you tell them to?
Well, relay. Who are you wanting to relay this to?
So their family. It's like they in their own head might have this idea of how their Christmas is going to be, and it's like, and they and you can see all everybody else going, oh my gosh, they want it like this, and we might be stepping on tiptoes. And it's like, what advice can we give apart from saying just don't have any expectations because they only breed disappointment?
Well, I asked them to think of some Christmases in the past where things went wrong, but it was still fun. I mean, I don't know about you, but the best weddings I've ever been to, the best funerals even, or Christmases are where things went wrong.
They're more memorable.
Yeah, it makes it more memorable. When everything's perfect, it passes by and you can't remember some details, but it's always the little things that went wrong, like the time when Granny's teeth fell into the sherry or the trifle fell all over Grandpa or whatever. But we all managed and it was fun. And, the dog came and licked all the trifle up from the floor and then sick. And, and there are the things that we laugh about now in our my old age, beautiful middle age, it's the fun things that I remember, the things that didn't go quite the way they are. I mean, in other words, flexibility and resilience, and empathy, all those three emotional intelligence skills that we all have.
Yeah, I agree. And I always remind people that their family are not mind readers. They don't know what your expectations are. So if you really want them to actually, have this big dream with you, then tell them what you're hoping for and then let it be whatever it's going to be.
First rule of management, share your plan.
Yeah.
Delegate.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 Ds, do it, dump it, or delegate it.
I use that a lot.
It's a good job, just dump it. If you've got to the end of the meal and you forgot to put the parsnips in, well, that's okay. Maybe you can find another way. Do them in the air fryer rather than do them with all the other vegetables or something.
Or keep them for tomorrow.
Keep them for tomorrow. Yes. Make a parsnip pie or something. Yeah. The thing is to take care of have a plan for the vulnerable being the very young and the very old. Make sure there's some jobs for them to do, even if it's getting our dementia granny to fold some napkins.
Yes.
Or to shine the spoons or something, so that itchiness, that fiddliness is satisfied. And make a spare bed up somewhere that the little one, when he collapses, can just be put to bed, or the old lady.
Yeah, or whoever it is.
And not expect so much of others. And if you're single and you're dating and your expectations of the guy or the girl, it is a time where relationships go wrong, and that's why I have my broken heart cure. So just how could he do this for me at Christmas? Well, Christmas is just another day. It's you that's made it special. You made it something that it isn't. I mean, for me, I've always worked on Christmas in the Middle East. It was another working day for me because we didn't have Christmas Day off in those days. Going back to my college days, it was a time when I could do waitressing jobs and get paid time and a half or double pay,
Yeah.
So that was great as a student to be able to do that. So, and my husband was a doctor, so we'd often volunteer. He'd say, well, we don't have kids. My colleagues, you have a day off, I'll work. And I'd say I'd work, and we'd get together in the evening and make a couple of cocktails and go to sleep.
And you're right. There are lots of families that have who have relatives that are first responders, and they have to be working. And so people do. They have to make do and have their Christmas say all in the morning, or the day after, or the day before, and people make it work for them, just like you did. But Beryl, going back to your broken heart cure, anybody watching this who is a hypnotherapist, get this. All right. It is so awesome. I have used this with clients, and I've been able to help them in one session. Just included it in within my first session with them, and that's all they needed, because that is what they wanted. So we're client-centered. That's what they wanted. They wanted help with this ruminating thing. Beryl, it works.
It does, doesn't it? And I had a message from Tanya in Germany yesterday, and she said she'd finally used it one-off, and the person was feeling great.
Yeah.
So she's translated it into German.
Oh, good idea.
It is a time where people, they're having to do something from loyalty and expectations of family, but the heart is somewhere else, unfortunately. And it all comes to a head, and they make a choice.
Yeah. Although
that heart or their own heart.
Sorry, and you're right. I was about to say, although ruminating over their ex, and they keep talking about, because they maybe have had one or two, but they bring that into the conversation at the dinner table, and it makes the other new partner feel very uncomfortable, and they're not aware of it. Do you know what? Cut the cords and let it go.
That's right.
It's like, because, and your broken heart cure does all of that, as you said, and for any kind of relationship that is just not serving you a purpose anymore. So we're going to put the links in the comments for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, trying to maintain those traditions, but they're traditions you did with other people, and you're bringing it into this relationship, you know? So trad jazz became modern jazz. It changed. You don't have to stay with those rituals, but rituals do make people feel very safe and secure. So which ones can you give up? Which ones are so important to you? Let people know. Let people know your plan, that it doesn't get rid of perfection.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. And know what your triggers are. Know, last Christmas, Uncle so-and-so did this. He flirts too much and he says this and that. Okay. Maybe visit your hypnotherapist. Say, oh, let go of those triggers, because you can't change Uncle John. That's who Uncle John is. He makes inappropriate suggestions, but he's still Uncle John. He's part of your life.
Yeah. And maybe he's just lost that faculties to be aware of what he's saying.
Yeah. I don't know if you know who Stacey Solomon is in the US, but she has this crafting program. And it was wonderful to see how they did crafting. And then they took all their crafts and all the things that the family had made to their grandma's care facility. And they actually had Christmas at the care facility and let go of all of their old ways of doing things. And that it's shown that when people do service, do acts of goodness, that they actually feel much more of those serotonins, oxytocins, and good feelings than when they just do things from duty, because it's always been done that way. It's expected, you know. A friend of mine in UK on Christmas Day has a restaurant cafe. He opens it up to the Salvation Army, and they send some people, and people come and they don't pay. They know what the menu is. They reserve their table. On every table there'll be somebody that the Salvation Army is sponsoring, and they pay what they think the meal was worth, and they get actually more money for the Salvation Army. They don't take anything themselves, he and his staff, and everybody helps. People come up from the tables and say, can we carry things in? Can we do things? They don't expect to be served. And yet they leave more money in the kitty at the end than if they're charged for a meal. And they feel so good about that.
Yeah, isn't yes. I agree. When we give to other people, because it gives us those warm, fuzzy feelings, and you can't buy those from Amazon.
Exactly. It's, again, this perfect gift idea. If you say, I'm hard up this Christmas, but I've made a cake, or I'm recycling this because I know you always came to my house and loved it. And
I know and I agree. And I know my daughter, she writes poems for people.
Oh, lovely.
I know, it's cute, isn't it?
Yes.
I'd rather have a poem than something that I could actually probably buy myself. That's fine. I would much rather that.
Yeah, think of the Christmas cards or the Christmas tree decorations that you've saved over the years. They're probably the ones that your children made for you.
I still got them all.
Not the ones that were expensive, because you've cut those up to be labels now or something.
I don't know if people do that anymore. I used to actually quite like that, saving all the Christmas cards and getting the pinking shears and making labels.
Oh, I still do that.
I just actually write on the thing now.
Yeah.
Well, there's not many people to give anymore, so so I just know whose it is. Yeah, I mean,
allocate jobs. In the plan, allocate responsibilities. Ability to respond. Have extra games and things like that on the side for people to do, and you don't have to do it. Ask your son or your daughter to be in charge of that game if we ask it for it, or that game, and they gather up the things. I mean, one of the best games that I used to enjoy, where you all have to.
Charades?
No, it's a mat on the floor, and you have to go to A3, and everybody falls on top of one another.
Yeah, Twister. We've got Twister.
Twister.
Yeah.
Oh, used to love that. Yeah. And I remember some of our best Christmases in Dubai. My husband used to be a doctor at sea, so often he wasn't there at Christmas. But when he was, we were always aware that there were people in the port who were alone for Christmas. So we used to get the guys to come in from the ships, the Royal Fleet Auxiliary ships, and they were so grateful for being invited to a home rather than serve dinner on the ship in the mess. And they just took over. It's like, oh, this is your house, you relax. And they were doing the spuds and doing it because they are used to working as a team. And they just, well, they were ship's engineers, radio operators or whatever, but they're used to teamwork. And they just say, oh, you invited us and we want that homey feeling. And yeah, it was wonderful.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And again, that was just sharing and caring.
So what are you doing? What are you doing for Christmas?
Well, I was going to be alone until yesterday, and a friend said to me that she was having a friend arriving today, and then she just said, what are you doing? I said, I don't have any plans. And she said, well, it's just the two of us. Do you want to come over? I said, sure. She said, well, we're both vegetarians. I said, that's fine. Can I bring something? Can I make a soup, for example? So she said, oh, yeah, that'd be great. So I'm going to make a broccoli and Stilton soup.
Nice.
The day before, because I always think soup tastes the better the next day.
Yeah, especially with something like that.
Yeah. Add the
Nice.
in it.
Nice.
And I shall take it over, and the three of us will, I'll probably take some trivial pursuit or something just in case.
Good. No, we've got a neighbour who's on her own this year, and I was walking my dog in the fields, and I said, what are you doing for Christmas? And she goes, oh, I'll just be. And I said, no, you're not. I said, you're with me. So she'll be coming over. Yeah, it's like it, and we get on so well, so it'll be wonderful. You know, not a problem.
Even if it's a stranger, you know, the warmth, especially now. People are aware of electricity costs and gas costs and all sorts of things. The economy is tight. So just to be able to leave your house cold and come into somebody's warm home. Lovely.
So I know we live right out in the sticks, actually. I don't think it's like, and you're right, but then we get the whole thing of fear, don't we, with people? We know that. It's like, who are we inviting in? So that's another whole conversation, I think.
Oh, I invite everybody.
I know. Everybody's going to have to come over to Spain. Everybody go over to Spain to see Beryl.
Fear, just come on in.
Yeah, but it's true. I know people would be going, oh, I couldn't do that, you know. So
is that a particularly American thing? I don't know.
You know, again, it's and I've heard this from other people as well, even within our own industry, people saying, oh, their energy, you know, that sort of thing. So it's like, so again, you know, that could be a Christmas challenge for other people's energy that they don't want in their house. How can we?
You know, energy can be switched on and it can be switched off. I have switches all over my house. So if somebody comes, I can switch their energy on. There's lots of things I can do, getting them to put the fairy on the Christmas tree, which means looking up. And when people look up, it's impossible to feel down. You can do all sorts of things to help people change their energy.
I just absolutely love what you just said, though. Yes, energy can be turned on and energy can be turned off. I mean, that just like put you know, to bed, really, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, if you don't want it near you, then don't give it permission to be, and just turn it off and say, speak to the hand. That's not coming anywhere near me.
Well, again, as that guy who started the whole Christmas thing would have said, be the light that shines, you know, pick up the Samaritan when nobody else will pick him up.
Yeah. And there we go back to that. Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This is fascinating. We could talk about this like all day long. Yeah. So how are we going to wrap this up for people? In a nutshell, Beryl, wrap it up for us.
Make a plan. Also make a list of your triggers and talk to people about those triggers. If it's Uncle John is in inappropriateness, then ask someone close that when Uncle John's doing that, can you save me? Can you change the conversation or whatever? Because I can't deal with it. It's about your awareness, self-awareness and self-management and social awareness and social management. Those 4 quadrants of emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. Once you have that, you can avoid them or you can deal with them.
Yeah.
Ignore them.
The expectations again, which is what you started with. Just if you have them, people are not mind readers. Let people know, give them the jobs, and then bring in the humor. It is meant to be a fun day. It's meant to be an enjoyable day. Laugh at yourself. Oh dear, this happened. It's not the end of the world. You prefer it if it hadn't, but it's not the end of the world. So let it go.
Remember the best memories of those times when things went wrong. Embrace them. Embrace them rather than fuss about them and it's all gone wrong. Make it an experience.
Yeah, because children and other people will watch how you're reacting and they will learn. So you are the co-regulator of everybody. If you're in charge of your household, then you are the co-regulator. Make it fun.
Absolutely. I remember the time when I don't know if you had the silver sixpence inside the Christmas pudding.
Please do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I always thought that my brother and I were so special because we always got the silver sixpence. Until I got a little bit older and I watched my grandmother slip it into the plate. In the pudding.
I don't know what they would be now. They don't have them anymore. It'd be like the tiny little 5p's for England.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So everybody, thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever your holiday celebration is. And it's goodbye from me, Claudia Rickard, and it's goodbye from
Beryl Comar, and have a wonderful Christmas and New Year.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Bye.